Hidely-ho, neighborino. It's time for a review.
Ah, about time. Pray tell, which one?
Prey 2, The Woods.
Thought so. Pray told which one. Can I at least swear this time? The last one was really bad and I'm gonna need some stress release.
No cussing. You know the rule.
What if it's like a made-up swear word, like patak?
All cuss words are made up because they're words.
What about Malacca?
Oh, that one's fine. Everyone knows Greece doesn't exist. For those of you who missed the original review, Prey 1 was an evangelical slasher film, a term I use very loosely, where a mysterious masked man grabbed a woman, stalked a Karen through a mall, and then got foiled by prayer and a magic car.
Jesus, please start my car!
How far did you say you drove?
10 or 12 miles? Why?
Lady, you got no engine.
And she didn't try to drive a car with no engine just sitting out there randomly. The slasher somehow removed the engine in the car park without anyone noticing and hid it behind a bush before hunting her down.
It would have been a much more awkward ending if she'd thought to leave when the mall actually closed.
Final purchases should be made now. The store will be closing in a couple of minutes.
Miss, we've been closed for the last 35 minutes.
And she found him winching the engine out. But that was Prey 1. And Prey 2 opens, as before, with the ident of the Dove Foundation, showing that for all its attempts at horror movie edginess, this is really a family-friendly affair at heart.
The following presentation has been awarded the family-approved seal by the Dove Foundation.
Prey 2 opens, as before, with the ident of the Dove Foundation, showing us that they still love defecating in Hollywood and releasing in a cinema.
The following presentation has been awarded the family-approved seal by the Dove Foundation.
The Dove Foundation. The only thing even wider than the soap.
I'm glad this flash animation is here to remind us that this is a horror movie. I mean, I'd hate to not get scared and cause offense.
Looks like the name and logo of a D-list goth tribute band.
Sounds like it too.
Hey baby, I'm gonna go get my cell phone. I'll be right back.
Is it just me, or has Prey 1 been vastly improved by us not being able to see or hear at?
Well, I don't want to be unnecessarily mean, so I'll just say it's not any worse. If you remember the first review, we won't take offense if you don't. This is Laurie Curtis, the woman who was attacked right at the start before the film was hijacked by the self-aggrandizing mall Karen.
It really rams home just how terrible the slasher villain is. She's not even been stabbed anywhere the camera can see.
Ew.
In a post-Roe v. Wade world, that's what we call a Missouri abortion.
Again, but louder. Ew.
You know, Missouri is called the show me state. You know, I could just bring some up some.
No. Anywho, she also doesn't look like she spent a night chicken cooped up in there. Get it? Chicken cooped up. When she wakes up, there's no terror or confusion. She's just instantly working on her escape. It's like he accidentally kidnapped a Marine.
There's duct tape around her wrists, her arms aren't behind her back, and her hands are free. I've been in escape rooms harder than this, and not the fun ones that'll kill you if you fail.
I think the best evidence about how terribly he's tied her up is the fact that they chose to film her escape in real time without cuts. If this took a realistic amount of time, the film would be 3 hours long.
No, I'm pretty sure they just filmed one take with their one camera, hence the random cutaway to a Dutch-style colonial house. Dutch-style because it's diagonal, you know, Dutch angle.
What are you doing in there?
Don't you know? I mean, I'm no expert, but I would assume that a kidnapper would have some way of looking into their victim's cell.
I am an expert, and this is perfectly in line with how incompetent this guy is at everything else.
So incompetent, let her sneak an entire camera crew into her cell.
Go ahead and scream all you want, because nobody can hear you!
Well, except her, and us, and God, and the film's audience, which is mostly her, us, and God.
Help me, please.
No, if that didn't help anyone escape in his steps, it's hardly gonna help here.
Hey, sometimes God uses temporary suffering to accomplish great things, which is what I keep telling myself whenever you and I work together. So regardless of what she of little faith thinks, she does manage to escape because the Scooby-Doo villain forgot to remove sharp things from inside the cell and has no plan beyond lock her up, laugh at her, and then walk away.
Which amazingly is exactly the same as her experience making this. The filmmakers locked her up, we laughed at her, and the audience walked away. Ah yes, hide the duct tape you took off your legs. Very clever. Now I'll waste time searching for a hopping woman. Assuming you ever leave this...
Yeah, that title is easily the jump scariest thing in the movie.
It wasn't that. It's just for a second, I thought I was watching the first one again.
Ironically, there's a version of this called Prey 2.5, which edits the first two films together. So in a weird way, I'm watching the first film again.
Is it just me, or are these stock photos and footage a better horror movie than the rest of it?
Being sodomized by a tree is a better horror movie than the rest of it.
Is that a yes?
Do you want it to be?
Yes.
Then yes.
I actually like the theme song. It sounds like the background of a queue area in a theme park horror ride. Either that or a church organist discovered Barry Manilow.
Movie, you're not supposed to list the entire cast in the opening credits. It's not 1947 anymore.
All the casts sound like insults the robots in MST3K would come up with for the characters. It's like an all-white version of the Key and Peele football sketch. And none of the names are centered. I wouldn't mind so much if they were all on the right, because, you know, that tracks, but they're all over the place.
But I have to say, the credits are kind of clever. It summarizes the film perfectly. A whole lot of people you've never heard of, and nothing that happens in it advances the plot whatsoever.
Okay, those pumpkin shots are the slasher movie Stolen Valor.
Is this even set on Halloween?
Every day's Halloween when you're ripping off John Carpenter.
Oh, sorry, homaging him with your slasher movie, with the main character called Laurie Curtis, with all your synth music and pumpkin shots, and your villain who's credited as The Shape.
After almost 5 minutes of opening credits, the film proper finally gets started. And it wouldn't be a Prey movie if it didn't have a lot of awkward ad-libbing.
Hope my mom packed all my nasal sprays and stuff. Because I just want to make sure, you know.
And a guy trying to scare a woman, apparently.
Jeez, man, I just want to give you a hug.
At least he's leveled up to scaring multiple people at once.
Oh, it's me.
It's a Smee, a Bubba Hoskins!
Oh, what's wrong with you?
Whiteface, how terrible! This is why we usually don't let black people into our church.
It's not funny!
So this is a local church group going camping, and the leaders of this intrepid troop are Shelley Duvall and an off-duty Joe Rogan.
I heard about that scream!
Yeah.
Heard it way over there!
Do you think he's so friendly because he's on more or less drugs than usual?
Pass.
Hey, you don't have to worry about us because we got a secret weapon.
Yes, we do.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah,
Okay, let's hear it.
We brought the chocolate.
No one over 10 is that excited about chocolate.
No one is that excited about chocolate. Unless it's a euphemism.
It's for women only.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. I hear you.
You may not partake of the secret
Definitely
weapon.
not you.
Yeah, I'm calling weird euphemism for the lesbian separatist sect over there.
Okay, we'll be close enough if you need us, just holler, but not too close. Let's go camping!
Don't know why they're all so excited to go camping. They all seem pretty camp as it is.
Because this film has more plot than non-terrible performances, we're then watching Emily, a celebrity talk show. I don't know if it's supposed to be a real show or a local cable access type thing. Either way, they spent most of the budget on the audience and the rest on the inside-out TARDIS set.
We have a great show in store for you.
Kinda doubt that. Hey, maybe they'll try to explain the radioactive tartan sofas. Seriously, that is the most aggressive tartan I've ever seen. It's like they skinned a dyke from Leith.
Bonnie Johnson is here promoting her new movie, Run, Hide, Pray.
I realized that Prey 1 was desperate for TV coverage, but this is cheating.
Bonnie Johnson plays the shop clerk that the mall Karen yelled at in Prey 1.
Miss, we've been closed for the last 35 minutes.
You're the first worker I've seen since I got here. And your mail announcer doesn't even know what store he works in. And what's the deal with cutting off the lights?
She's also the only cast member of these films to have an actual acting career. So I guess this is Prey 2 fictionalizing Prey 1 while being a direct sequel to it. But it's not stopping there, because the other guest is Laurie Curtis, the woman kidnapped in Prey 1, who was then locked up in the rabbit hutch. She escaped and wrote a best-selling book about her experience.
It was probably 127 hours for the type of woman who can't conceive anything worse than being a bit cold and not having access to a hairbrush.
Shush, I'm not finished. Dang it, lost my train of thought. Okay, so this is a sequel to Prey 1, which is fictional in this universe, and the best-selling book that the film is based on came out at the same time as the film based on it. Now, the Prey movie, which is fictional, has the exact same cast as the Prey one that actually happened, because it actually happened in this universe, even though it's fictional. It's like they plotted this out using a spirograph.
But to make this even better, / worse, / just as bad, they don't reveal Laurie Curtis, the writer of the book, until after they cut back to her in the cage. About a day after we last saw her, finally realizing that she could just kick a hole in the wall and escape.
She probably spent all the time wondering how she can be here because she's not yet written the book that inspired the film that this is a sequel to.
I'm just waiting for her to realize that she shouldn't exist, so the whole movie can disappear in a puff of logic.
Maybe she took so long to escape because they needed to set up for the day for weirdly purple night shots. Any suggestions for why everything's purple? Misplaced stylistic confidence? Someone's cat pressed the wrong button on the editing machine? The editor was colorblind?
I'm guessing they filmed it in Minnesota near Prince's house and the light just looked like that. We've not mentioned the best / worst / pretty par for the course part of the escape. She freed her arms and legs and he didn't notice. She kicked a hole in the wall and he didn't hear. We know this because he came to give her a hoodie after she broke the wall.
You're gonna need this. It's supposed to get really cold tonight.
And then, seconds after she silently escapes, he decides to check on her for no reason. You remember the old saying, better to remain silent to be thought to have let her escape as part of a nefarious plot, rather than speak and let everyone know that you're just terrible at this.
Dear Lord, that's the loudest profanity I've ever heard.
I was actually assuming that he let her go. I need to stop giving movies the benefit of the doubt.
Such a strong wall. I wonder how she ever managed to escape it.
If she stayed in there for another 20 minutes, it probably would have just fallen over out of embarrassment.
Oh, fantastic! You put up your hood. Now you're walking slowly and you lost your peripheral vision.
You know, I could almost buy him slow walking after her but still somehow catching up if he actually knew what direction she was running so he could use a shortcut. But nope. Slasher movie villains walk slowly and inexplicably catch up to their fleeing victims, so he does too. I don't know where they borrowed that music from, but whoever composed it is the closest thing this movie has to an MVP.
It really does belong in a better film. We should rescue it.
How?
I don't know. You're the hero. You think of something. Ask the Lord.
No.
Spoil sport.
This is basically a cargo cult slasher film. It recognizes certain things that slasher films do, and it copies them, but either because of incompetence or because of religious conviction, it refuses to actually be a slasher film.
I mean, he's caught up with her multiple times, and yet she remains frustratingly non-slashed.
I think she's getting away. The sky is steadily getting less purple.
Help me! Please! Hey lady, what are you doing out here? Are you okay?
Help me! Please!
Help! Help! There's probably a transman near me! Help!
And I demand to talk to the truck's manager. Well, that was the woods, I guess. Aw, he looks so disappointed. Don't worry, champ. Next time, just remember to slash your victim instead of assuming that locking them up and laughing at them for a few hours will kill them.
Time flies when you're having fun. And this thing assumes its audience is on PCP.
Okay, Emily, we're ready. You're on in 60.
Wait a second. This is a year later, but they earlier showed this exact same day in the talk show. They even said that this interview with Laurie Curtis was coming up later.
This today, the #1 best-selling author in the country to tell her story of survival. You won't believe it.
By putting this caption here, they have accidentally said that the previous talk show scene was taking place at the same time as her earlier escape scenes. I know we made comments and jokes about it because it was an odd creative choice to intercut the future and present in that way, but by placing this caption here, they codified our jokes. This book and film being advertised are based on events that hadn't happened yet. I hate to be overly negative about a fellow filmmaker, but that was an unforced error. All they had to do was not put that caption there, or preferably not intercut the escape with the talk show.
You know, I think we might be wildly overestimating just how much the average person will pay attention to this film. Like, how many people realize that fully half the Chad Virgin meme is on the book cover? Almost no one.
And this is all because they wanted to have something resembling dynamic editing, cutting between the escape and the talk show. They got so worried the audience would be bored that they accidentally broke time. Pretty sure that's a Doctor Who plot.
Pretty sure that's a few Doctor Who plots.
And that's not even talking about the camping scene, which is now floating out there somewhere in time, because we have no idea when it happened / will happen. Which isn't just a Doctor Who plot, it's a Doctor Who season finale.
It can't be. It's not something that was vaguely referenced a bunch of times, because New Who showrunners still don't know how story arcs work.
Point taken. Yes, they do.
I think we're missing the forest for the trees here. Why is the titular Emily sitting in a dark room listening to loud, scary music?
Okay, Emily, we're ready. You're on in 60.
Anyway, yes, this is the same talk show recording as before. It's a year after the escape. Laurie has written a book about the experience, and someone has adapted it into a terrible movie that we'll one day review, even though we already have.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Welcome back. Our next guest is near and dear to my heart. It's actually a story that I covered when I was still a local reporter out in the field.
She is bad at TV, like, really bad.
Yeah, so bad she could run for office in Pennsylvania. She's like Dr. Oz, but if she dies any harder, she could be promoted to Bud Dwyer.
Okay.
You know, I think this might be the first time a film has been less cinematic than the TV show it's filming.
So let's bring out Laurie Curtis.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. You look great.
Thanks, so do you.
They really do. The lighting is amazing. I've never seen the posterized effect done practically before.
Yeah, it looks like it's been set up for photography, not video. Just terrible lighting. I mean, who do they think they are? You?
Quite!
Emily, the talk show host, was a local reporter in the first movie, so it seems that the only person who faced down the slasher and didn't get famous was Mall Karen, which just proves that for all the pain and darkness, there is still justice in the world.
A lot has happened since we last saw each other. You've written a book.
Yes, I have.
You know, for a film series that includes the magic car scene from the first movie, I think somehow the least likely part of this is that she wrote a book that thick about her experience of being grabbed, locked in a rabbit hutch, laughed at, and running away.
She might have been a bit of a Henry Darger, an outsider artist-author who started writing his autobiography, but got bored partway through and turned it into a book about a sentient tornado called Sweetie Pie.
How do you know this stuff?
Well, at this point, I'm not sure I'm not making it up.
Anyway, as most interviews go, they skip over the book that she's there to talk about.
Yes, that's right. I'm a firm believer in supporting the local church, so some of the proceeds are going to go to the Potter's Hand Bible Church where my family attends.
Don't go into the traumatic experiences that led to the book.
And I hear you're also becoming quite an advocate for women in self-defense.
I'm not sure in my initial kidnapping if self-defense techniques would have really helped me.
And instead of us watch an advert for local business.
Can we take a look at that? Can we roll that footage?
Regretfully, yes. And in case you're wondering, that is an actual local business, Karate International in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's an exciting new approach to the old school local cinema ads that used to play before trailers.
At least it would be if this ever played in a cinema.
Fun fact, much of this is cut out in the official version of the film on Encourage TV. Encourage TV are a little bit like a faith-friendly Netflix, and their official version of the film on their YouTube, which they claim is the full version of the movie, is almost 10 minutes shorter than the DVD version we're watching, and it cuts all of this. No recap of everything we already know happened, no small talk. It goes straight from
Congratulations on your own show. This is so exciting.
To
Now, you mentioned earlier a little bit about your kidnapping. Can you take us back to that day and tell us what happened, or is it too painful for you? It must have been so horrifying.
saving the audience precious minutes they could be spending wondering why they watched the rest of the movie. My guess is it was all cut for pacing, which was definitely the right choice. And you know a Christian movie is rough when one of the things that gets cut is the sermonizing.
God loves us, and He didn't have to create us, but He chose to, and the reason was just simply to love us.
It's like cutting the space shots from Star Wars or the quips from an MCU movie.
Or the pointless bits from a Wes Anderson film. Anyway, now she's talking about the kidnapping.
I'm not sure in my initial kidnapping if self-defense techniques would have really helped me.
Yeah, you could maybe have punched the road into being nearer.
Well, he took me to this old barn, really in the middle of nowhere, and he locked me in there and basically just left me.
I am so glad you managed to wring 600 pages out of that. But I'm sure she embellished a tad because that is not a barn.
And I think we have some photos from the crime scene. Do we have those? Can we take a look?
Brutal honesty from the film to describe an earlier shot as a crime scene. I like it. And then she starts her sermon about her experience.
God provided a way out for me miraculously, and that was just one of the many times I knew that the Lord was taking care of me.
It was called kicking, dear.
Couldn't God then have kept you from being kidnapped in the first place?
We might suffer the consequences because of a bad decision. If I choose to smoke a lot of cigarettes every day, then I could possibly get lung cancer.
You don't choose to be kidnapped, Lori. If you do, it's not kidnapping. It's a surprise vacation. I don't really want to go into different theological perspectives here, but suffice it to say, I don't much agree with her, and I'm glad they cut it out of the streaming version.
But the point I'm trying to make is that I know that God was with me. I know that He was giving me strength and clarity.
Maybe God did give Lori the strength to escape the cage. She clearly believes that. But the wall was also so badly constructed that it fell over minutes later. Besides, her speech is derailed by the end of the previous film. It showed God doing a miracle to save Malkaren, while this film showed us Lori getting herself out. If anyone should be talking about God's part in saving her, it should be Malkaren.
Jesus, please start my car.
Lady, you got no engine.
And so I'd rather take my chances trying to escape than to hang around and see what He had in mind for me.
He was probably just going to make you stand in the corner because a witch told him to.
That wasn't a witch. That was the director.
Ah, suddenly the prey verse deepens.
Long story short, she led the police back to Rustin Parr's place, but he'd vanished into the woods. Dun dun dun. And then the real horror begins.
And everyone in our audience today is going to receive a free copy of Lori's book.
You get a paperweight!
I do? Thank you. I've never won anything before.
And you get a paperweight!
Why, thank you. I know what'll go perfect with that. Ketchup.
And you get a paperweight!
But we're a paperless office.
It's a useless book that shouldn't exist! Burn it!
Captain Planet died for our sins in vain.
Good.
Actually, her book is kind of the ideal post-recording gift, really. After spending a few hours watching that lighting, all the audience's eyeballs are probably too damaged to read. Back on the campers, it's been a year, and they finally arrived in the dangerous heart of the public park masquerading as the woods. It really says a lot when the natural light is the most consistent light. It says that either they're really bad at cinematography,
or that God is really good at it.
Anyway, time for an old school evangelical barn raising.
Somebody get rid of her.
No, is that singer being raptured or cyber converted mid-chorus?
Look at the guys, they still can't get their tit up.
Ha! We know what a euphemism is.
I think the makers of this missed their true calling, making carry-on Christian exploitation. At least then it'd be knowingly crap.
Do you think we should go help them? Guys, this is ridiculous. Come on.
While the girls are busy emasculating them with intent, the others rush off to theirs, and it somehow takes 5 guys to leave a tiny rubber snake inside. What did they think it is, a burger?
Until the snake appeared, I was sure it was a panty raid. Bloomers raid. Pantaloons raid. No. Subliculum raid, just like Jesus would have done.
Oh, so that's what an abstinence-only orgy looks like.
If it goes on much longer, they're going to drown the forest in silly string. It's going to be like Pompeii, but silly.
There is so much hijinks happening, and I was sure that getting high was frowned upon. Uh-oh, drag. This film is now banned in 12 states, and they're all technically sex offenders in 8.
Thanks, really praise you a lot. Made me feel real special. Don't you guys love me?
What I'm confused about is that he seems annoyed that they made him up, but at the same time, he was awake while they did it. He could have left at any time, though I suppose that might have been impolite.
He probably suddenly realized that he's going to be on Libs at TikTok for grooming his friends.
Quadrant 2, Vector 6. Clear?
These two are on a stakeout.
Stakeout? We're not on a stakeout.
Sorry, not a stakeout, where they sit outside Laurie Curtis's house because the local police or whoever is funding these people clearly has too much money.
It's my paintball gun. You know, for protection.
Could you just be serious?
Cringe comedy is cringe.
5 of diamonds.
No.
Ace of spades.
No.
You know, I think this scene might be a stirring cautionary tale to show the audience just how cool they might be if they don't manage to escape the church. What I don't understand is the whole scene, but in particular, the music.
Can't we just be serious here?
You could have just made it sound like it was coming from the radio. As it is, it just sounds like they plastered Christian rock tracks into the film at random. Because they probably did.
What next?
Hey guys, I'm here for the stakeout.
Stakeout. This is not a stakeout.
No, it's apparently comedy.
This is bad comedy.
I brought donuts.
Anyway, enough of this crap.
Sweet.
It's been over a year since the kidnapping and Laurie's husband has gone out of town, so he's paying these guys to sit inside his house and watch it.
You've got.
I got it?
Yeah, whatever.
Hopefully he's paying them really badly and he hates his wife. Anyway, even though her husband has the money for that, and his wife's a massively successful author with a film deal, they still live in the exact same small suburban house that they did before the kidnapping. They didn't even change into the family heirloom leopard print.
Well, I'm glad about that. The leopard print was the best part of the house. This really is confusing, though. You'd think that rich people dealing with fear of kidnapping would move to a gated community or have full-time security, but nope, because they couldn't afford to put that in the script. So rather than adapt the plot to make sense with what they could film, they threw this together and hoped we'd laugh so much we didn't think.
What goes up must come down, so you might want to lay off these sugar donuts.
But they're so good.
Joke's on them, because if I stop thinking, it's going to be because of everything else in the movie.
So, back at the talk show, Laurie's in a room complete with wall CDs, a mirror, and a microwave wearing a TV as a hand. So you know this isn't your average optometrist waiting room.
I'd hate to have that microwave TV set up at home. I wouldn't know where to look for entertainment while watching this. Laurie's getting ready to head home, and, looking at the hallway she comes out of, I can see why the TV studio couldn't afford proper lighting.
Yeah, it looks like they spent most of the budget on renting the audience, the rest on the TARDIS set, and whatever they found behind the cushions and the terrifying sofa and running a crack house.
A lot of fans of inspirational tales about chicken coops.
I get it. Chicken coops for the soul.
Okay, that's better than my line.
Yeah, it was.
For someone who apparently has enough trauma that her husband needs to pay people to watch the house that she's not inside, she is way too comfortable in a group of complete strangers. I don't want to disparage her. Okay, I do, a little, but I'm not proud of it. I don't want to disparage her, but her sermon was about how her kidnapping was partly her fault because of mistakes she made that night.
We have consequences to decisions that we make. For example, we might suffer the consequences because of a bad decision.
And now she's happily being swarmed by random people and has so little hypervigilance that she didn't realize she was slowly being stalked by the score. It's probably out for revenge because she didn't take it with her when she escaped the cage.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You want sirens for me? No, not at all.
Oh, it's a Prey movie when there's too many scare fake-outs. Now, in an understandable move, Laurie's got herself a guard dog.
Lancer! Lancelot! What's wrong, buddy?
He's looking pretty distressed. Must be because he's in the movie.
Whatever's happening, he's off to the vet, where, naturally, they have better lighting than the TV studio.
Better crack houses, too. Probably.
Yeah, something's definitely wrong with them.
Yeah, he knows he's in the movie. The dog's gonna spend the night at the vet's while Laurie's gone home for a relaxing time of not forgetting what she's eating while she watches a mail-order rental movie from ChristianCinema.com.
Not watching that by myself.
Was she watching Prey 1?
I think so.
Poor thing. Wasn't it bad enough the first time? Wait, who goes instantly from watching a horror movie to reading the Bible?
Probably people at the Dove Foundation. Anyway, it turns out that the dog's got something lodged in his stomach.
Okay, we need to go to surgery now. Lord, I'm glad we found you. Look, we found out what was wrong with Lance. There were 2 adult male fingers.
Because this is suddenly the Christian version of the choking Doberman suburban legend.
There may be someone in your house.
But what makes this truly great is the vet's insistence that the worst part is that the guy was wearing black leather gloves.
Lord, that's not the worst part. They were wearing black leather gloves.
No, I disagree. The best part is him yelling and screaming at her not to freak out while she looks like she's trying to remember what words are.
But he could still be in the house. Okay, please, look, be calm, be calm. He could be lying around somewhere.
No, actually, the best part is the vet telling her that the guy is probably still in the house and to look out for blood.
Loss of blood, in shock somewhere. Please look around, anything missing, blood anywhere, please.
And then she instantly heads to a spotlessly clean, pure white door and opens it.
Boy, it turned into a crescendo of all the stuff we liked, huh?
Oh, yeah. Still hate it, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, there was blood on the door. She just instantly covered it. So, to recap, the slasher got into her house, past these geniuses. Her dog bit his finger off. He got blood nowhere but that bit of the door frame and hid in the closet. And then he stayed down there until she got home, took the dog to the vet, watched half a movie, got a panicked phone call, and went looking for him. Get out of the house! There's a camera in your closet! And then she can't work out how to escape her own house and has to bang on the window for help.
She's an American who's scared about being attacked. She really should be shooting stuff right now.
Whoa! Yeah, okay.
Oh hey, it's Officer Unexpectedly Handsome from the first movie.
Officer Stripogram.
Officer Muscular.
Officer Tom of Finland.
The vet told her over the phone that he'd called the police, but still, that's ridiculously impressive timing. It's like there's a cop for every minute it took for them to arrive.
Apparently, just for her, they even broke out the stealth lights that you can't see through windows.
Hey, you two take the right side. Corporal, take the left side of the house.
Yes, avoid going inside. That way there's no chance you'll accidentally catch him. Oh, Apex Police. That must be the name of the porno they were filming when the vet called.
They eventually do go inside and naturally find no one.
I'm at Lord Curtis' place. We have a suspect at large and he is wounded. Copy.
He looks like he wishes that once, just once, he could be in a terrible movie and not end up here.
We need to lock this whole area down.
Sir, we're a small town. Our whole force is already with you.
He's back.
Okay, just ignore me, I guess.
Anyway, back to the campers, who might be different campers, I don't know. We have some more amazing day for night shooting. Now, day for night usually involves blue lighting. I can only guess that the filmmakers misunderstood the term blue movie and pivoted to purple, resulting in this gay for night.
That might be a different set of campers. I think that's Madison the mall Karen from the first film telling her story.
People think I'm lying when I talk about it, but I don't even see why I would make something like that up.
Well, I believe you, Madison.
Thank you, Lacey.
It's like something out of a movie, you know? It's crazy.
It was something out of a movie. And a book. They plugged them on TV like it was famous. But maybe that's a different Madison telling a different incredible story to a different group of campers, who are all sitting in a semicircle for no reason.
Oh, come now. Making the film easier to shoot is technically a reason.
Assuming it is her and these are the same campers, which is hard to tell because I can't see them, then maybe there should have been a close-up or something in one of those earlier scenes with the campers. I mean, the star of your first film being in the second one is kind of a big deal. But not as big of a deal as silly string battles, apparently.
Could have been worse. She could have spent all this scene demanding to see Silly String's manager for stealing her limelight.
Sorry, Mangosteen Light.
Did anybody find out the score of the game? Shh. What? I just found out the score of the game. Shh. I heard something.
Congratulations. You can hear. It's the outside. Sounds live there. Nothing much comes of that. They just put it there to remind us to be terrified, because the guy escaped the house 3 seconds ago.
Maybe it was just a squirrel or something.
Anyway, Madison starts telling them the backstory of the guy who stalked her and kidnapped Lori.
Apparently he was just a regular guy, according to the people at his church.
They had a lot of time to get to know each other as he followed her in that mall and she ran away screaming. He was a good Christian man who was dating an evil non-believer. The relationship wasn't working out because she was evil and stuff, and so he tried to end that.
I think it's time for you to leave.
No, it's not over.
So naturally, she accused him of rape and assault.
I'm Sergeant Jake Lyons. I'd like to come inside and ask you a few questions.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
They gave him 5 years in prison. Then about 3 years went by. Eventually his attorney came back and proved that his girlfriend had been lying.
It was his time in prison that finally turned him into the evil, laughter and kidnapping enthusiast that we all know and love. A good Christian man brought down by false allegations, and an evil woman.
Who wrote this? Tommy Wiseau or Andrew Tate?
Yeah, the villain's origin story says a lot, all of it bad.
Though the guy was clearly just waiting to turn evil. I mean, look at him. So maybe she just really wanted to help him become his worst self.
And I can't imagine being convicted of a crime I didn't commit. Must be awful.
And if you want to try and somehow balance the scales and do the crime you did the time for, then why target every well-off white woman in the local area except the one who sent you to prison in the first place?
All right, guys, gather around. Listen up. Here's the situation.
Oh, God, now it's trying to be exciting.
But I did like how the blue lights were timed to the music. That's almost charming in a goofy kind of way.
We got a suspect on the run. Probably on foot.
But there's technically a non-0% chance he might be flying.
I want this guy apprehended before the sun comes up.
Naturally, since the guy is on foot, they proceed to set up checkpoints on the road rather than check out the copious amounts of woods he's currently hiding in.
Now, according to the report, the suspect entered the woods somewhere around here.
I want units here, here, and here.
The same woods he spent years hiding in.
Maybe they figure he'll leave the woods eventually. Or die of exposure.
Why would he die of exposure? If he'd die of anything, it'd be radiation poisoning from all the purple light. Heck, he's probably already building another hideout.
Any questions?
More than you could possibly answer.
All right, who's in charge here?
Clearly you can tell because you got the goiter of authority. Okay, for some reason, they just did a really long scene setting up the local police's strategy for finding the guy, and then almost instantly the FBI swoop in and tell them to piss off and go home.
The big boys are here now, so you girls can turn in for the night.
I mean, stuff like this happens, yeah, but that's just wasted minutes that they could have spent on making the film coherent.
Or explaining why the FBI is so interested in a guy who menaced someone in a mall and trapped a woman in a rabbit hutch for a night. Unless it's the car story that got his attention and he's this universe's Fox Mulder.
So what does the FBI want this guy anyway?
We believe that he's involved in more than just these local abductions.
Oh, thank you. That's not so vague that it just backs up my confusion about why the FBI would care at all.
Or explain why, seeing as the FBI are here and just told the local police to go home.
Catch up on your beauty sleep, perhaps.
Why we're currently looking at shots of the local police doing the search instead of the FBI. I don't care anymore. Cut back to the campers. Hey guys, I just had a great idea. Let's all sit in a semicircle as though there's a camera in front of us. Won't that be fun?
To be totally fair, they're also facing the fire. Admittedly, they could do that more efficiently by being in a circle around it instead of sitting in 2 rows 12 feet away. Maybe the light cast by the flames ruined the imperial purple sheen they were going for.
Hold up! Steve, hold up! What are you thinking, man? We could have killed you!
Yeah, this is North Carolina. Statistically, at least 12 of those kids should be armed at any given moment.
I doubt it. The Dove Foundation wouldn't have approved.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? We thought you were gonna kidnap her.
Because you were clearly kidnapping her.
Oh, how sweet. Her guardian little angels.
What is it with this church group and pretending to be serial killers and kidnappers?
As Anton LaVey said, there's a beast in man, and it must be exorcised, not exorcised.
You know what? Fine. Yes, the kids in this church group are clearly fans of the Church of Satan. That makes about as much sense as anything else in this movie.
Come on, guys. I just thought it'd be funny. Come on, it's hilarious.
This is a guy, and he probably has a name. He used to go to their church, but kind of drifted away, decided to reconnect, and couldn't think of a better way to do it than by sneaking up, grabbing someone, and then running away. Think of it as the religious version of the trope of a boy pulling the hair of a girl he likes.
I'm not even sure if we've got him on screen at the moment because all the campers are so nondescript and the lighting is so painful to look at. I'm not even sure I'm not using a shot of a tree right now.
You are. The acting's marginally less wooden.
Just got a radio dispatch from 911.
There's someone in my backyard.
Ma'am, are you in immediate danger?
No, I think he went back into the woods.
I'm glad they spent all that time setting up roadblocks then.
Can you give me a description of it?
It was pretty dark, but he's probably 6 foot tall, dressed in all black.
She's just described most of the police force. Maybe it was just an officer who got lost on the way to the highway.
When and where was that?
That's 2 miles east of Mrs. Curtis's house.
2 miles away? How big is this neighborhood? What am I saying? It's the suburban United States. Sometimes the local shop's another time zone.
All right, people, listen up. You just got to go ahead on the manhunt. Let's be careful. We need this guy alive. No shots fired unless we have to.
Why is the light blue now? Or are they hoping to get the drop on him while dragging a giant neon sign?
The sign probably says, "Ignore us!"
Sorry.
They could afford a helicopter, but they couldn't afford a decent night filter?
Correction, they have a helicopter sound effect.
They could afford a helicopter sound effect, but they couldn't afford a decent night filter?
14, Apex Command. He's definitely been through this way. All right, everybody. From now on, we're going silent.
Yes, sir. Turn the chopper blades off now.
Meanwhile, back at the glade of awkward ad-libbing, the teens are still hanging out and doing nothing.
Okay.
I don't. Does anybody have an extra wire hanger so we don't have to do this?
Sit closer to the fire, maybe? The only point these scenes have are the things they're roasting those marshmallows on.
Or the obvious abortion jokes I'm pointedly not making. Anyway, friendly Joe Rogan, who I forgot was in the film till now, has some words for the kid who recently arrived. I assume. None of these kids are the ones that Rogan arrived with, so he might have got lost and found another church group for all I know.
So I haven't, seen you around church much lately.
He's been very busy growing his hair and therefore getting cool.
And pretending to kidnap random girls.
That's cool. I know you got a lot going on.
So we then get another great example of this movie in microcosm, as Pastor Rogan tells the story of a guy who was popular, loved, and successful, and how it was all ruined by a woman.
He just had it all going for him. And then one day, out of the blue, his girlfriend dumped him.
Whoever wrote this seems to have some issues.
Agreed.
A 10-volume annotated collection.
A whole comic book store.
I mean, no warning, just like that. Anyway, this guy's life is in a free fall. Even his friends, his close friends, had just given up on him, just wrote him off. Next thing you know, several weeks have passed. And
popular guy then. Loved by everyone. Do you know who'd wait more than a couple of weeks before giving up on an obviously depressed friend?
Almost everyone!
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy's pastor comes to see him and they sit together, in the dark, in his living room, staring at a fire together.
And they walk into the living room again, there's no lights on, so now there's two guys sitting there, staring at the same fire.
Now this would usually be the start of a very niche porno, but nah. They sit in silence and the pastor puts a coal that fell out of the fire back in, and they watch it get hot again.
The coal bursts to life, all the coals igniting it, and they just stare at it for a few seconds. Our depressed friend stops and says, "Hey, wait, your sermon came through loud and clear."
Little did he know that the pastor just had a thing for fire.
It wasn't even his pastor, it was just some random guy who got lost. Like he was. Oh, that was terrible. The sermon was long and had nothing to do with the rest of the film. Nothing at all. And as though it was trying to be a microcosm of the movie as a whole, it began as a spooky-sounding horror story.
Then he hears a knock at the door. Kind of scares him. So finally he gets up and he walks to the door. And as he puts his hand on the doorknob and opens it, he looks out and sees this huge dark silhouette.
And then, bam! Sermon.
Your sermon came through loud and clear. I have grown cold.
Good Christian fiction seeks to integrate the themes and message with the plot, while this treats the viewers like a captive audience. If they want to see the pallid horror and frequent jump scares, they need to sit through a sermon too.
Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
Now, when the struggles of life come my way, I run to the place that can help me.
What I find weird is that he was the exact level of depressed to not turn any lights in his house, but he could build and maintain a coal fire for hours.
It's a very highly specialized kind of depressed that only exists in real life or bad fiction.
So what happened next?
And he let himself out of my house, and he walked out into the cold night air.
That was you?
And this is very bad fiction.
Yeah.
I love how the marshmallows are feet away from the fire as though they're terrified they'd cook and ruin continuity. And when I say love, I mean, yeah, I love it because that's just hilarious.
Okay, fine. You can all pick me up this Sunday morning.
Obvious joke is obvious.
That's what I'm talking about. Shaggy.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but the lack of purple in this shot is freaking me out. Anywho, it appears that the slasher has found a quad bike that he stashed away for just this occasion. That's not hard to track at all.
That is a hell of a waste of police funds, flying Jones from Police Academy around like that, just so they can pretend they have a helicopter. Anyway, he rides straight into the teens. Same teens, different teens. Who cares?
Look, I think that guy just crashed!
I'm not sure why, because it happened off screen and there wasn't a sound effect. Quick, let's rob him!
Oh my gosh, no!
Quick, someone tell him a long, rambling story with an obvious moral that fixes everything.
Oh my gosh, no!
So, the teens take another tack in trying to help out by swarming him like zombies until a cop arrives and yells at them to leave.
Get away! Back up! Put your hands where I can see him!
That is kind of unfair considering the film's lighting. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that the police officer didn't gun down half the kids because he thought they were made of fentanyl, or the guy was disguised as 15 people. Anyway, with the guy arrested, he gets a visit from his lawyer.
The devil's advocate!
Oh, ha ha ha.
Mistress, if I may play devil's advocate for a moment, we don't say advocate in the States, we say lawyer.
And we get the final shocking twist.
Can they hear us?
Yeah, we can.
Write it down.
That the lawyer thinks the camera can't read handwriting. Dun dun dun.
Nah, it's that the CCTV is in color for some reason.
Nah, it's that the slasher who's in Laurie Curtis's house is innocent of everything but breaking into Laurie Curtis's house, I assume. And it's his non-Christian twin brother who's the real slasher.
It's not right. One man shouldn't pay for another man's sins.
Oh, really? Isn't that what you've been preaching to me for years?
Oh, I get it. It's a metaphor. Charles Manson and Charles Son of Man.
What irritates me is the hack way they've both been scripted in this exchange. The evil brother makes a point that his brother is being a hypocrite.
Isn't that what you've been preaching to me for years?
But instead of arguing against it, the good brother just whines that it's not fair.
That's not fair and you know it.
And then the evil brother agrees and grins evilly because of cliffhanger.
Well, life's not always fair, brother.
Yeah, it's like it wants to raise a theological discussion about the nature of Christ's sacrifice, but puts no effort into it whatsoever. The whole thing does make me want to see part 3 though, but only out of morbid curiosity. This movie is a muddled mess. There aren't any central characters, the scary setups have no payoffs, there's too many shoehorned sermons that kill the momentum of the story, and there's no focus on the story it wants to tell, assuming there's one at all.
I pretty much agree. At least Prey wanted something resembling a plot. This is a bunch of disconnected stuff happen with a bunch of sermons thrown in, lest the audience forget what they were watching. Hey, wait a sec, that's Madison, the mall Karen. Well done, movie. You not only didn't give your returning main character an early close-up to show that she was in the movie, but you stuck her behind a tree in the only shot that someone might have accidentally recognized her in. Having gone into this as a non-Christian, the only conversion I'm feeling because of it is me liking slasher films slightly less, and I saw Axum, which is on YouTube, labeled the worst horror movie ever made. And yet, this is arguably better than Prey 1 in some areas. The lighting, for instance, is existent. Usually. It makes no sense, but it's there. The music is good. Whatever library they licensed it from should be very proud. And that sermon about the friend and the coal is complete bobbins, but as a story it got its point across. So yeah, this is better than Prey 1 in parts, but just enough parts that it kind of makes the worst parts even worse. So yeah, avoid. Unless you're us, because we're totally watching Prey 3 sometime.
Darn right we are.
Heck yeah.
And with that, I give you back your cussing. Now I must be off. I ended a special review on my channel a couple years ago on a cliffhanger, and I really need to figure out what happens next. See ya.
I'm Demanda Hagan, and I have to live with it every day.
Says that he that sees but one path shall stand in the way of the Phlegmaticus. Why? There's no time to explain.
Oh, glory to the fuck. Happy Father's Day.